I don't know if you can hear. Yeah, I think the thunderstorm is coming up on the audio, so sorry about that. 423,000 copies of this album. That is thunder. And that was a surprise. See? It's just such a perfect song. Done. I don't know if that came through on the audio, but that was pretty ominous.
Stuff.
Hello everyone! Welcome back to another adventure in the History of K-Pop Season 1, where we've been taking a look at all the great first-generation K-pop idol groups and the accomplishments and legacies they've left behind for the future generations of K-pop idol groups, as well as for us, the fans. Huh? Since we had quite a grand introduction, we're gonna keep this one a little bit shorter. But we can't skip reviewing though, right?
중요해요.
자, 오늘의 요약!
In our last episode, we started talking about Shinhwa, the one idol group who has remained the same ever since their debut. And even at this very moment you're watching this video. Specifically, we gave you guys a brief overview of the group, then took a look at how the group came together, as well as their first two album promotions. Well, as obvious as it sounds, we are going to continue from where we left off by talking about their next 4 album promotions. And that'll be all for today. But as usual, there is nothing to worry about since we'll have tons of details to go through. Anyway, we said we'd keep the introduction short, so without further ado, let's get right into it.
Let's go!
While this transition was a quick one for us, it wasn't quick for Shinhwa. Just over 1 year later, Shinhwa released their third album titled Only One on May 27th, 2000. But let me tell you, this album is very far from being the only one, because we have a lot more to cover.
너무 많아요.
This album included 2 promoted songs, which were the title song Only One and All Your Dreams, the follow-up song. From Only One to All of Your Dreams? How extreme.
It's extreme!
Unfortunately, this album was actually delayed by about a week due to Jeonjin injuring his leg. But all in all, once it was finally released, this was the album that really helped Shinhwa stand out from the other boy groups at that time. They were more or less the only boy group from that period that displayed a very masculine image. For those of you who are familiar with 2PM, you can basically think of them as the 2PM of the first generation idol groups. But before 2PM, obviously. Hold on. 2PM before 2PM? Who wrote this on the script? Since we're on this topic, Shinhwa was known as the first idol group where the members developed and exposed their fit physiques during stage performances. Dongwon was the first one to start bulking up his muscles, and the other members soon followed up. And some of you guys might ask, why is it such a big deal that they are bulking up? Well, at that time, it was generally discouraged for male idols to work towards having a more built physique. For an unknown reason. While this may not have been the best method to appeal to the broad spectrum of the public, It was a decision that helped the group develop a core concept. Apparently, their follow-up song, All Your Dreams, was selected by fans voting through Shinhwa's official website. For once, something was actually chosen by fans. Initially, the group had been thinking of picking Jam No. 1 as their follow-up song, but ultimately gave fans a choice of what they wanted to see on the stage. And we think this is the first time we've heard a follow-up song actually being selected by the fans. Again, members took part in writing songs for this album, but this time, some also took part in composing them as well. It is said that this was the album where SM Entertainment invested the most for Shinhwa, and this is most likely due to the success of their previous album promotions. They probably wanted to row their boat even harder when they were riding the wave. Well, we would say that this was a well-returned investment, because overall, they managed to sell 423,800 copies of their third album. That definitely sounds like a success. What also made it sound like a success was that Shinhwa won first place 6 times on music shows with Only One, and twice with All Your Dreams. But the success didn't stop there. They also won several year-end awards for the song Only One, which includes 2 awards from what is now known as the Golden Disc Awards, 1 award from the KMTV g.o.d, and 1 award from the S.E.S g.o.d. Some notable facts about this album include that Dongwon actually really disliked this album. But what we like to ask is that, even after winning that many awards, do you still feel that way, Dongwon?
100층 펜트하우스에서라도 더 높이, 더 꼭대기층으로 올라가고 싶은 게 사람 본성이야.
Now, on the album jacket itself, the person who got the honor of holding the X shape is Minu, who is likely chosen because he was basically the most popular member at the time. But what happened to the other members? Well, they only got to be featured on the other side of the album. I'm sure they really appreciated that, Mr. SM.
조용하죠.
On June 28, 2001, Shinhwa released their 4th album, Hey Come On, and promoted with the title song also called Hey Come On, as well as the follow-up song Wild Eyes. Before we jump into this album promotion, there was one sad thing about it, and it was that unfortunately, Andy could not participate in this album due to an issue, which I will explain in a moment. Okay, let's start with the first issue. If you watched our S.E.S episodes, you'll know about this issue with some unfair university admissions, and it's this situation that also affected Andy. We won't go into too much detail here as we don't actually know a lot about it, nor do we fully understand the issue. But due to this situation, Andy lost his legal reason that allowed him to reside in Korea, which therefore limited him from being active for financial reasons. Or in other words, he had a visa issue.
Let's go!
Before we continue, I'll just let you guys know that the following information about Andy was sourced from a KBS TV show called Kim Seung-woo의 승승장구, or 승승장구 for short, which aired on March 20th, 2012. Anyway, in addition to this visa issue, Andy also had to return to America as his mother had fallen ill. And due to this, the group announced that Andy would not participate in Shinhwa's promotions for a while. Later on, both Andy and his mother had to come back to Korea, and not for a good reason. he and his family simply could not afford the astronomical medical bills for her treatment in the US. And I think we all know how astronomically expensive medical bills can get there. Upon his return, instead of moving back into the group's dorm and letting the members know of his return, Andy decided to live in what is called a goshiwon in Korean. This is basically a very cheap and small dorm room where students who are not from that local region live in, and that local region is usually Seoul. Oh, and he also didn't let the members know about this either. Andy had ultimately decided to do this because he did not want to be a burden to the rest of his team while he was struggling. During that time, he had said that even getting his hair cut was a luxury for him, and he also suffered from insomnia, which he attempted to resolve through consuming soju and aspirin. Now, if you ask us, that combo really doesn't sound like the best solution. But guys, one thing we want to say is, please talk to someone and seek medical advice if you are going through something similar. Please. Let's move on. Now, despite Andy's struggles, we continue to watch the members promote on TV shows, and when the members expressed that they missed promoting with Andy on a gorilla concert, which Andy had seen through a TV in a public place, he said it brought him to tears. Towards the end of the fourth album promotion, Mr. SM himself somehow found out that Andy had returned to Korea and immediately contacted him asking where he was, as he rightfully should have. And once Mr. SM got in touch with Andy, he basically brought Andy to the fan meeting, from which then Andy was able to rejoin the group after about a year. I can imagine how this was a touching moment for Andy, the members, and the fans. I mean, just reading this makes me sad. Alright, I know that this was quite a sad story to go through, but let's put that aside for now. If you guys haven't noticed, we still haven't started talking about the album yet. So let's do that now. Going back to the album, it was this fourth album that...
다시 해볼까?
Going back to the album, it was this fourth album that allowed Shinhwa to be viewed as a performance-driven idol group. This is largely thanks to their follow-up song Wild Eyes, which ultimately ended up becoming more popular than their title song. I am so sorry, title song. The choreography for Wild Eyes, which included the use of chairs, was definitely a highlight of the song and contributed to the group's reputation as performers. Even more impressive, Minu apparently took only 20 minutes to come up with the choreography. And it also accommodated Haesung, who was suffering from a leg injury at the time. Talk about those optimization skills that Minu has. The choreography for Wild Eyes really left quite the legacy. And of course, many of their junior idol groups, such as 17, Pentagon, After School, G-Friend, Super Junior, and SHINee, just to name a few, or a lot, have done dance covers of this song. Oh, and how could I forget, our good old members of Infinite Challenge themselves also did a cover performance of the song during one of their skits. It's a pretty cool choreography, and although it's not the most difficult one, since it involves the assistance of chairs, the vibe that Shinhwa pulls off with it is nothing short of amazing. Wow. Never mind, that actually looks difficult. With all of those eye-catching performances, it should come as no surprise that the group sold 423,000 copies of this album. That is thunder. And that was a surprise. And achieved first place 4 times on music shows with the title track, Hey Come On. But despite all of these amazing achievements, we feel like Shinhwa could have accomplished even more. Why do we say that, you might ask? Well, the album was released in late June, but Shinhwa wasn't able to appear on S.E.S. Inkigayo until early August due to some conflict between SM Entertainment and S.E.S. Inkigayo. We actually talked about this in one of our S.E.S. episodes, but just to recap, after Shinhwa's label mate S.E.S. did not achieve their third first place win with the song Kamsa Anumya, SM Entertainment became suspicious of the broadcasting station, and it caused their relationship to turn sour. While we can understand why SM Entertainment would have been upset, we also think that there was quite a lost opportunity by taking such action. But anyway, we'll keep this part short as this was previously discussed in one of our S.E.S. episodes. And with that said, let's get right into it. Wait, what? Oh, right. It, as in the next section. It looks like someone named Researcher J has laid his hands on the script. Once again. Shinhwa's 5th album, Perfect Man, arrived on the perfect day of March 29th, 2002, and featured the title track Perfect Man and the follow-up song I Pray For You. Perfect song names.
Stop it.
Apparently, the group was planning to make Shout their follow-up song, but then changed it to I Pray For You to match with the summer season. Now, being the performance-oriented group that Shinhwa is, the key point of Perfect Man is obviously the standing mic performance. Wow, they really know how to keep things interesting. During this album promotion, the group further solidified and maintained their position as masculine idols, in addition to their reputation as 예능 돌, or variety show idols, by creating a lot of laughing points when they appear on TV shows. Overall, Shinhwa managed to sell 362,600 copies of this album, which is a lot, and received many awards for it, of course. The group won first place on music shows 5 times with Perfect Man, and 1 time with I Pray For You, in addition to winning 9 year-end awards for their success with Perfect Man. See? It's just such a perfect song.
Stop it.
This is a bit of a tangent, but I definitely know this song because of the BTS cover performance at the 2015 KBS Music Festival, so I can imagine how iconic this song was for Shinhwa. Anyway, let's head into the last album we're covering this episode. But just a reminder, it's still quite far from being their last one. Here we are, on the last album we're covering today. Shinhwa's 6th album, 너의 결혼식, was released on December 27th, 2002. Though we're going to consider this now as part of 2003, since that's when the majority of the album promotions were. Well, there were only 4 more days in that year, so... The group promoted with the song 너의 결혼식 as their title track, and with 중독, or Deep Sorrow, as their follow-up song. Now, if they didn't already do so before, 나의 결혼식 pretty much allowed the ultimate, powerful choreography that Shinhwa can do. Yes, while it would be viewed as an ultimate, powerful choreography, this song was quite well known among the members for its deadly choreography due to the extreme complexity of it. But it wasn't only difficult to execute, it was apparently quite hard to memorize as well. Supposedly, after Minu showed his members the choreography, Haesung approached him privately, asking him if he really expected him to do this choreography. Well, count me in too, because I would probably say that no matter what choreography I was given. So I feel that. To put this into perspective, Shinhwa rehearsed this song more recently for their comeback in 2012, and were amazed at their past selves for being able to pull it off back when they were actually promoting this song. Keep in mind, they were also much younger back then.
Back in my day when I was a youth.
Apparently, they actually ran out of breath performing it at their concert in 2014. Ah, dear age. But I'm sure it was amazing nonetheless. In terms of statistics regarding this album promotion, Shinhwa sold around 281,000 copies of this album, and won first place on music shows 7 times with 너의 결혼식, not to mention winning 5 year-end awards for this song as well. As you can see, their 6th album was definitely one to celebrate. But you know what? This is also the point where some big changes were just around the corner for Shinhwa. Because once they concluded the promotions for this album, Shinhwa's contracts with SM Entertainment also ended. Dun dun dun. Wait, why does the script say... Wow, researcher J, did you actually write dun dun dance here? Anyway, you'll just have to stay tuned for the next episode to find out how that went down and what happened next. And until then, I'm gonna have a word with my researcher J, about this dun dun dance being written on the script.
Were you looking for me?
우리 잠깐 내부회의 좀 할까? 언니.
And there we go. That was our second episode on the long-living legendary first-generation K-pop group, Shinhwa. Today, we covered their 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th albums. But here's the thing. Can you believe we've covered 6 of their albums so far? And we're still not close to being done? Yes, we are in for a very long but very interesting journey ahead. All aboard the Shinhwa Express. Well, as usual, we're gonna keep chugging right along into the next episode, where we'll be discussing everything about Shinhwa's next 3 albums and why they went on an almost 2-year-long hiatus. And yes, you'll obviously have to tune in to figure out the reason. But I'm sure you're smart enough to have figured it out.
이럴 줄 알았어.
Do you know what time it is? No, it's not 2 p.m. But rather, it's time for some questions. What do you think about Shinhwa's strategy to go for a more masculine image? And have you seen any of the dozens of groups who performed covers of Shinhwa's songs? Let us know in the comments down below, and of course, please let us know what we might have missed in today's video, or if anything needs to be corrected. Also, please leave any questions you have throughout the season on any particular video in this series, since we're planning to have a special review or Q&A episode at the end of this season. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you want to tune in next time, and remember to stay awkward. Bye!